Hey guys, Jessie here from Tonkadale Greenhouse in Minnetonka, Minnesota. Today we're making spring wreaths. So before we get started, let's talk about our tools. Got my tool trough. We have taped floral wire, assorted zip ties, baby zips, a bolt cutter, a wire cutter. There are several wreath styles to consider. I really like doing the crescent style. You can go all the way around or you can just do one side. So here we have the crescent style, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna make clumps of our faux flowers and then attach them to the wreath with zip ties. So on this wreath we have 1 clump, 2 clumps, 3 clumps, and then just some bells. We have some bellage. We have some embellishments because we can. So let's get busy making our clumps. So it's really fun when you're preparing to make your wreath, to go around the store here at Tonkadale and choose your elements. This is a really pretty pink magnolia, and I like to choose between 3 and 4 elements, kind of wake them up. And as long as everything you choose looks good as a bouquet, I think it'll translate well onto a wreath. I'm really loving these dusty blue foliages. I think they're really calming and interesting. Lastly, we just need like a leafy element or something a little bit lighter. I can't get away from this leafy branch. I feel like this combination would translate really nicely onto a wreath. And I like to call this a vase strap because you could also just take a zip tie, go right around here, chop the bottom. That, my friends, is what I call a vase strap. Boom. We've selected our items. We're gonna need 3 of each. 3 roses, and these, they look real. Oh my God, they're amazing. We have 3 berries and 3 budding branches. I usually recommend 3 to 4 elements so you can keep your story straight. Something with foliage, something with pods, and then a chunky floral element. So here we go. So what we're gonna do from here is cut down our stems using our wire cutter and our bolt cutter. After we've finished trimming our 3 stem choices to the appropriate lengths, we're just gonna zip them together with a baby zip tie to create our first clump. So the leafy branch, I was able to get 2 stems out of 1. We'll put our berry right on top, and then our rose, baby zip tie. And you wanna make sure you hear that zip sound. So there we have it. For the wreath we're making today, we're gonna need 3 of these. We're gonna use this dimensional euonymus wreath, which is really cool because it really creates a lot of movement with your wreath. We're going to attach our 3 clumps like this, 1, 2, and 1, kind of coming out at the bottom. And to do this, we'll use our larger zip tie. All right, zip, zip. Okay, so I've attached my 3 clumps. However, these roses are driving me nuts. They're just not pointed in the right direction. So what I'm going to do is give them a little twist. I'm gonna twist them together so they stand up nice and perky, like that. And then in order to keep them closer to the wreath, I'm gonna zip tie them down. So always room for edits. And then also it kind of closes the gap between the 2 clumps. Boom, zoop. Everything can bend. I like my wreath a little bit on the wild side, but you can decide. It's really your call. All right, lastly, I'm gonna put on the twisty vine. Twisty vine makes everything better. Just kind of a messy branch that finishes everything off. It's almost like in place of a bow, a ribbon, something like that. So I'm gonna make a few loops. Loopy loops, wild messy loops, as if I were making a bow. And then I'm going to trim off a small end. I'm gonna trim off a small end to tie it around the wreath. So here are my loopy loops, and you're gonna go right up top, baby, right in between those unruly roses. That just kind of finishes everything off. I can go around the back side of my wreath with that extra strand and tie it down. The nice thing about using zip ties and twisty vine to attach your items is nothing is glued, nothing is forever. So if you wanted to use, what you could do after spring is over is you could take off your flowers And you could just have a vine wreath. Through fall, you could add some fall items, and you could transition it, or you could store this for use the following spring. These items are good for indoors or outdoors. I think this one is super cute. It's really feminine, and this is like coral and pink and green, and it kind of wakes everything up. At last, if I want to be really clever, we could add our bells. You guys know I'm working out now. I had to buy some weights. I got 5s, 8s, and 10s. So what I've done here is I have 2 separate bells. I just tied one to the other. Whoops, with a simple knot. Let's tighten that up, no clanging. All right, so we're coming up and around with the jute. We're going to secure it to the wreath and to itself with a baby zip tie. Very handy. I put my hand up on my hip. When I zip, you zip, we zip. There we are, zippy zip, trimmy trim. Finally, we're going to use our 2 taped wires, fold them in half, create a little hook, fold again, up through the back. Remember, we're hanging off center, so it doesn't have to be in the center. Wrap, wrappy wrap. There's your wreath hanger. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave your comments below, and we'll see you next time. See ya. Bring wreath.